Says we're live. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Y.
We have, there we go.
Hey, Y. I'm making you.
In Wood Thrush Cottage.
How do I make you a moderator on StreamYard, Y? How do I do that? It doesn't have it in the little three dots. Huh. How do I do that? It does it through YouTube. All it has is put you in timeout or block you. Maybe are you already a moderator, Y?
I haven't done a live in StreamYard, so I haven't played with any of that. I know the two of us. Hi, we're like first ones, first time ever that Julie's doing a live on StreamYard.
Okay, there we are. Yes. Okay, Y says yes.
Yes, you're already a moderator on StreamYard.
6 watching. Okay, so I think he's moderating.
Okay, awesome. You can see both of us. Cool.
Awesome. Okay, I can see all the comments. So I had to sort of reschedule this. I see the number of people watching. So for those of you listening, I had done a little schedule thing, and then I had to redo it because I was going through StreamYard. So I'm waiting for some people to come over because I know there were a bunch of people already waiting on the other schedule.
Right, one on YouTube. Yeah.
But how's everyone doing today? Wait for the comments. Okay, you guys can comment, but we're going to talk about tarot. So should we tell how we came up with this idea? So we were just kind of through text drawing some cards out for each other for things we're doing. And oh, whoa, there's all these comments. Okay.
Yeah.
And oh, I hear an echo. Is that me recorded on yours?
I don't have an echo on mine.
I don't have an echo. Do you guys out there hear an echo?
I don't hear an echo on your end either, so.
Okay. Let's see if it stops.
It may just be on you.
Okay. Okay, so let me know in the comments if there's an echo. I do have I brought out my little earbuds just in case, but actually it stopped. Okay, so as I was saying, we were throwing some cards for each other through text. And hey, Veronica Jude, hey, Poppy, hey, Angeline.
Oh, Veronica, you can hear an echo? Okay.
Okay. It stopped for me, so it might have stopped. Yeah, I don't hear my echo anymore. Let me know if it continues, Veronica. And so I laid some cards and we had kind of very different reading on it. And then there's one just like yesterday or the day before, and we said the exact same thing. So we thought we should go live and talk about different perspectives and ways to read cards. It stopped. Okay. Thank you. So we thought we'd do this live and we'll talk about, because everyone reads cards differently, and some people's first impressions and when they look at the cards is different. Others go right to textbook, exact meanings, and other people throw in intuition, and it's usually a combination of all that. So we thought it'd be fun to compare.
Also, are you looking at like the light meaning or the shadow meaning when you look at the cards? Because that's what happened with like the first set of 3 that I threw out for her on the question she asked. We interpreted it differently because she went to the positive and I was like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
Without saying what the question was, that's up to you, Julie, it was your question, but the cards were, and I hope, I'm so not used to this, going this way. Okay. That it was, wait a minute, Judgment with the 9 of Cups and the Hermit. And
so what it's in the right order on screen.
Okay, good. Thank you. I'm still adjusting to this whole, when I manipulate them though, because I'm used to them going the other way for me. Anyway. So the way I interpreted it was that she needed to hold off and make the judgment it was about a deck, and when she got a chance to have them in person and lay them out in a spread. I saw the 9 of Cups as the 3x3. That's one of the favorite readings that she does when she's testing out a deck. And then the Hermit saying, and shed light on it take a step back. The Hermit for me takes a step back and looks at things because of my studies with Camellia Elias on the Tarot de Marseille. So since these are the 3 cards I drew, that's how I was reading it, was you need to get them in your hand first and judge them by looking at the spread and being able to shed light on them further before you go ahead and do that, you know, and proceed. And Juliet,
yeah. So Diane sent me a picture of the cards first. Can you hold them up again? So can you hold them up again?
Oh.
And so I saw that. So I saw the picture before she sent her little teeny text interpretation. And I saw judgment is like, yeah, rise up, go for it. 9 of Cups, it's all good. You're happy with what you have. Excellent. And the Hermit was shining his light on that 9 of Cups. And I thought, go for it. It's ready to go. So this was about my recent deck, the Scrying Poetry Tarot. I did end up waiting a bit just in case, but I was like, no, it's all good to go. And it turns out it was all pretty good to go from where it was.
If you'd waited.
One little thing, but I won't say what it is. So where I'm totally okay with one teeny little typo or mistake in something, because I like that imperfection, and most people have not noticed, only Diane has not noticed. But I'd already made like some corrections and this and that, and I was like, I think it's ready to roll, but I decided to wait like a week and a half anyway.
If you haven't seen it yet, I'll put up the ad for her. This is the new deck, the Scrying Poetry deck, and it's really huge and it's really awesome. I'm going to show off cards for you for a moment.
Okay. I won't stop you. Go ahead.
So it's really different because it looks like vintage papers as the background, and it has poetry lines. And she can talk more in another video about that. We're not going to spend a lot of this on this, but it's a really cool deck, and you got to get it. I'll put the ad for her.
Diane has the plastic version. So there's a card version, like a normal card version, and a plastic card version. Plastic's a bit more expensive because it just costs more, but Diane wanted it to.
I would never have guessed that it was plastic. It doesn't feel.
No, it doesn't feel like plastic. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's a really nice. The plastic is actually a very nice cardstock.
Yeah. Thank you, with Thrush Cottage. Oh, hi, Joanna.
Yes, her grandmother's painted papers on some of them, the court cards.
Yeah, all the minors have her paintings. Well, I used one for the numbers, but anyway, so back to card reading. So that was like, we had totally opposite interpretations of those 3 cards, or impressions. And it kind of did a little bit of both, but but it's like both turn out like, yeah, I waited a bit, and it was good because I tend to get really excited and just want to everything out there once it's ready, because I spend so much time working on things, like a long time working on things where I don't say anything to anyone, like no one knows. That could be years, and then all of a sudden it's like coming to fruition, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I want to get it out there. So it was interesting. Her message was wait, and mine was like, no, it's ready to go. So why is putting links in? Oh, he's putting the website. Thank you, Y. Okay.
And I think the links for both versions, maybe?
I think so. I don't know. Thank you, Y. That's very sweet. So yeah, so then I pulled 3 cards from the, I can't get it onto there, Sun and Moon Tarot. It's hard to get it on center because I'm to the side. Asking the same question, is it ready to go? Is it ready to launch and put out there? And I pulled, so now I need to get this in order. The Emperor, the Prince of Cups. So this is a thought. I can't get these on center. This is
yes, on the cusp tarot is Y, and that's who's moderating us. Yes.
Yeah. Prince of Cups. Remember, this is a Thoth deck. So technically, Prince of Cups would be King of Cups and RWS, but I have my own system with this deck because I have Prince and King, not Knight and Prince. So I see this as a night energy, and then, as you can see, king. And I worked with the kings as king in this deck, even though I know technically it's a little confusing with Thoth and translating to RWS. But I read with a weird mix of the two. So I pulled these three with that same question. And we had different readings. So I thought, great, I've mastered it. It's good. I've got it all under control. It's organized. Move forward with it. It's your heart desire. You're happy with it. And the King of Wands, and to me, he's my lion ready to pounce. Go for it. You can leap over the fire of excitement. And Diane's reaction was,
if you move too fast, you're going to get burned. Take a night and sleep on it. Sleep on it with the dream and intuition. Put take the night where we've got that Prince of Cups. Take the night and sleep on it, because you've built it all and everything, but you need to take a night and sleep on it, because if you move too fast, you could end up in that fire and getting burned.
Right. So again, same question, and we had completely different interpretations, though neither was incorrect. It's sort of like, okay, the cards can have many meanings. The combinations of them can have many meanings. And often a lot of it is up to the interpreter.
Yes. And that's why I actually like reading on the lines. I've had other readers call for a reading, and they'll tell me, don't tell me the cards, just give me your interpretation. Because if I tell them what cards I'm looking at, since they can't see them, they'll spin their own interpretation onto them, and they're not looking for, if they wanted to do that, they would throw their own cards down. Yeah. That they're getting a reading like that over the phone so that they can't see the cards. They don't have that prejudice of their own filter, and getting my insight, my interpretation. Because throw down the same 3-card reading on the same question with 10 different tarot readers in the room, and you can get up to 10 different interpretations. And that's kind of why this came up, because it's like, I think especially important for those who are just starting out reading, that learning that, yes, your interpretation may be different than somebody else's. That doesn't make your interpretation wrong. It's your filter, it's your interpretation, and everybody's is going to be slightly different. And that doesn't make anybody more right or wrong. What's interesting is to see then how events bear out.
And, there obviously, if like someone's interpretation is way off track, that's just someone who needs to practice reading. But for people, who are trusting either their intuition or their textbook knowledge or a combination of that, the readings will be slightly different, but there will be some overlap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, usually.
And I was going to say something before you touched on that, how you readers say, don't show me the cards or tell me what they are. I was just about to say, like, if you're getting a reading, you can also go with what resonates with you when you see the cards. So it's like, it's funny because like there are two different perspectives on that. But also, there is something to, if you're getting a reading, to not seeing the cards and really working with what comes through the reader, or you can call it the channeler, the interpreter, the translator, and working with that. Because I kind of feel no matter who's reading the cards, some important message that's valid, that's maybe like hits the nail on the head in some sort of way, will come through. If they're different messages. But I don't recommend asking a gazillion readers the same question over and over.
Right. Yeah. No.
From my experience years ago, I'd do that. I'd like, okay, let me do it again. And it was almost an experiment. Let me ask that same question again and again and again and again. Right. And eventually, every time, I always felt like the cards got tired. Like they would give me these sort of like vague, no answers. And I'm like, okay, the first one's probably what I have to go with.
Yeah. If you read on the same question over and over and over again, and I've noticed it, because you get those people when you're working on the phone lines who are constantly asking the same question of you over and over and over again. And eventually the cards just say, you know what, I know what you want to hear, and so I'm just going to give it to you.
That happens too. Yeah.
Where it's like, all right, you know what? I'm just, because you're not listening to me anyway, you know, or the guides or whatever, you know, whatever you believe is in control of this says, you know what? All right. And they give up.
Right.
So yeah, you're not supposed to ask a question more than once a month is what I was taught, how I was trained.
Yeah. Or when you're in a clear head. Like if you're like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want that. You know, it's like, does he love me? We'll use that example because it's probably a common one. Does he love me? And you get the devil and I don't know, death and hanged man. An obvious no, right? He may lust for you, but he doesn't love you. It's like, no, that can't be. He's just confused. Let me ask again and again and again and again. And then
two more cards because that's the past. Now where's the present, the future that, you know, and you keep going. And that, like, the whole deck out.
You know, it's sort of like it loses it just loses all its energy. It's just, you know.
Yeah. Planetarium did a good video on that where she keeps showing how that kind of example, and she keeps pulling one card at a time until finally, oh, there it is. I knew it. You know, it's like the 40th card in the.
Well, because the cards do get tired, they do. And I've had decks that I just were tired from years of use, and I'd clear them and I'd put them in order and I'd put them on the shelf for years, and it was like it was tired for me. So I'm like, it might not be tired for someone else. I'm going to pass it on. Especially decks I used early on that I just like practiced readings like hours a day. You know, just like, okay. And it's funny because I would do, sort of off topic, but I would do past readings. I would say, this is a reading for me at this point in my life, and it would be very accurate, like what was going on. So it's interesting. Little like, well, that's part of my studies. That's when I used to journal readings out long ago.
Journaling is a really important exercise that I didn't know about, like in my early days of reading tarot. It was never in any of the books that I was learning from, and not until I started learning Lenormand off of Donna Lee De La Rosa's channel. And that journaling with that, I carried back forward into tarot when I returned to it. And it's important because it helps you learn how the cards are speaking to you, and it gives you that chance to look back and see, like I said, it's interesting to see how you interpreted the cards and then how it plays out. And if you don't journal it, you can't see that.
Right. Yeah. Especially when you're practicing several readings a day. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I never read anywhere I mean, of course, I'd only read like the Thoth tarot book, but I never had read anywhere, and I wasn't online at all really, like to journal. It's just something I did. I was a very good note taker in school.
This is a great note taker in school, but I'm horrible at like diaries and journaling. So I never did it. Oh, you have to do this. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so back to that 3-card spread, just to review for y'all out there. So we had different interpretations. So I said, let's pull a clarifier on the King of Wands. Because to me, it was like, leap for it, go for it. You got it. And she's like, no, you might be running into the fire. And so my clarifier was the 6 of Wands. And we both agreed like, oh, it's probably pretty good to go. But I still waited a bit. And I think that there was a beneficial reason for waiting. Not what we would have thought of before. I think it was beneficial for me to like calm that overexcitement I get. So sometimes the messages that come through and the reasons they come through for you aren't what you think it is. But if you work with the messages, this is kind of where I say like humor the universe for a bit, and you'll see why those messages came up. And there's often some sort of surprise. Okay. You check in the chat. Hi, Monica.
And sorry, I had to give a quick tip. My son sent me a real quick text. I had to let him know, like, just can't talk now. Go,
go away. So yeah. Cottage says, would there be a different reading for each person reading? There would be a different. Yeah, so I think we covered that. You said well said. Okay. Just backtracking a bit. So yeah, it's all very interesting. And then yesterday, should we share the one? We had the exact, she sent me the pictures again. I said something, and we have this thing where we send the same exact message at the same time. Same message, basically. Different words, but exact same message. So what cards were there? What deck did you? I can't
And
remember.
I was playing with the light seers because
yes,
Julianne had gotten a copy that's like, all printed kind of funky, and she got 2 replacements. So she asked me if I wanted this. She's very generous. And I was like, yes, because I've been sitting on the fence about this deck. And so
sent me 2. I was waiting for 1. They sent me 2. So I was like, well, I'll give 1 away.
Right. So I took the beat up copy because I said, I'm not sure about this deck. And so I brought it out to play. And so we asked, those of you who do follow me that are on here, you know that we've got our house on the market. We have it up for sale. Then COVID came along and put a total halt to things here for real estate. And so we've been sitting for 2 months on the market with nothing, because nothing could happen. All of our government offices had closed here in our county, actually in our state. So no records could be pulled. Inspectors couldn't come into the houses. I mean, there was like nothing real estate was happening, except for stuff that was already far enough into the pipeline that they could just go ahead and have the closing. So finally, our county, behind everybody else in our particular area, opened up. And it's been a little over a week now, and we've had like very little activity. And I had thrown cards on what was going to happen for this weekend about, what's the energy and outcome, is how I like to word those questions, of selling the house this weekend. And so I got the 5 of Wands, and then the 5 of Cups, and the 10 of Wands. And so I was like, all right, so a lot of activity, but then there's a loss. So I said, all right, we'll have showings, but not get what we wanted out of the house, but we're still going to be moving forward. We had this 10 of Cups. But then I kind of said, what about looking at it? We've got all of this activity, but nothing's happening. And we're still dreaming of moving forward, to the sun and the sand and the beach and everything. We're sitting here in this rainbow dreaming. Well, what's turned out, yes, we had a lot of cleaning activity. No, we haven't had any real activity on the house, but we did just take a substantial price drop. Mm-hmm. And we're still dreaming of moving forward. In the beach and the home. And this is returning to my family and my ancestral, like where I was raised. I don't know if I can call it ancestral home when it's not where my family is from. Right. My dad's from outside Chicago. My mom's from upstate New York, but I was born and raised in New Hampshire. So it's
your homeland. Home. Yeah. And it's interesting because both of your interpretations actually apply in different ways. Really do. That's another thing with reading cards is like, I do read them with layers often. Client readings, because they're much longer than, say, like the weekly reading. But like there can be layers of interpretation within the same card or cards or a whole spread.
Very much.
And bits of all of those apply in some way. And it's like it's this dance and play and interaction of those messages, or you say the interaction of the cards. And so that 10 of Cups has not come to fruition yet, right? So it's like all those kind of like
the dream though. So we're still, I've said about that, we're dreaming of that. We're looking at that in the future. I can't see it on can everybody else?
It's there now. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not when I was off here. Okay.
Right.
When I can't do it, you guys can't either. I have to remember that too. All right. But they're sitting in the rainbow and they're looking at that as a dream. You've got, that dreaming aspect to it in this deck, which is interesting. So we're still focused on that dream. We're just definitely kind of feeling that, that.
Yeah. You're still
that hit,
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because you have the 2 5s. Which are that middle point and the kind of stuck in the middle. And things have to shift.
And that struggle,
not great, but then the 10 is there, and the 5 plus 5 is 10. So it's like, you could see it as your struggle, your obstacles, your challenges, the disappointments, they will pay off.
If you go there with the fact that the 5 of Wands can be struggles and obstacles, we've certainly had that. The 5 of Cups, the other bad news is that again, because our governor delayed our county because of everything in one nursing home, not the whole county, one nursing home has had the deaths here. And so he's making our county, as a realtor put it, she said, he's making our county look bad. So she's like, all of the calls are for the towns around us outside the county line. She scrolled through her messages of what she's gotten, and it's all right over the county line. Nothing, people aren't really looking in our county right now either.
Right.
Because of us being delayed like that, like we've been.
And that's because
of one nursing home and the governor's mandate that caused this. And I'm going to stop there.
But those 5s lead to that 10 of Cups.
They do. They do. And so, the dream is still there. The hope is still there. We can still see that vision. And we're still sitting together in that rainbow holding tight for that. But it's interesting because then Julianne said, well, what's your next card? Right. And I had looked already at the bottom of the deck too. So she asked that later, but I pulled the next 2 cards. And I will adjust to this, people. I swear I will. Bear with. I'm used to being in reverse when I
just block your face.
Camera.
It's on center. Yeah.
So I'm having to move things differently. Yeah, bear with me. I do much better on my own system here. All right. So the next, I'm finding this interesting in the 10 of Wands because I read the book Interpretation, and she talks in there about lessening your burdens, letting go of things. And so she's traveling with less.
Well, when I pull that card, like I see it, like that card has come up a lot for clients who are thinking of moving. And so when you said that was the clarifier card, I was like, oh, packing up and
that was my first interpretation when I saw it.
So, yeah.
That's exactly how I first saw it when I looked at it, is packing up and moving.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. But then after it is the star. That hope is still alive. That dream is still alive. There's still, she's hanging on to that dream balloon, basically, of that fiery dream.
And it's kind of like she's lassoed the star. So you can lasso your dream.
That's true. There is. That's a lasso.
Delays and disappointments and like going through packing up and getting down the hill, and then you can lasso it. So
and the shadow card, because she asked me, and like I said, I'd already looked at that too. What was on the bottom was the High Priestess. So we needed to get that knowledge, and that's why we had our realtor come out and we took a really good look at now, post-COVID, what's happening with the market. Was it even, would it do us any good to lower our price or not? That's a standard, kind of gut reaction. But she was, able to show us that, like right now, the market has also, like we were in mid-range. Some of those houses have come off the market. People have taken their houses off. So now we were up at the higher end. If we really want to motivate, get the activity going and move on it, then there's buyers that wouldn't be looking at us without us doing that. So
but that's
we got that insight from that other knowledge that was hidden from, that we can't look at it and see it because we needed her insight as the person who gets the calls and sees what's selling and sees what's going on there, out there now in real time that we can't see.
Yeah, you froze for a moment there. I think we're okay.
Okay.
Oh, echo again. Internet.
Yeah.
It goes away. Okay, Woodthrush Cottage asks, is there a good way to phrase a question to get a deeper reading, better energy? Yes, and that's actually phrasing your question. To me is important. Like clients often ask questions and then I rephrase it for them. And I was like, how about this? Because if it's too broad, like clients usually want, getting a reading, you want a pretty specific answer. So I will rephrase the question for them, make sure that's okay with them, and then give them the answer. And it's funny though, because I do some email readings, like my quickies, my 1 card and 3 cards. So I have some regulars, my regular quickie clients. And I can't do that with them. So I answer what they ask. And one of them really gets it that like phrasing the question is important, because they'll ask again, okay, let me rephrase that. Let me ask that question in a different way, or take, this element out of it. Because if the question is too broad, which is totally fine, like I love actually general blind reading because it's open for any message you need to hear. But if you want something specific, you can't say like, oh, does someone out there love me? And I'm just using love because it's such a common thing. Does someone out there love me? And it's probably going to be yes, because like your mother probably loves you and, your friend, right, whatever. But if you want to say like, is the person I'm to marry and be with for the rest of my life coming into my life in the next few months, you'll get a very clear answer. Usually.
I do that a lot too, because yes, the love, 99.5% of my business is, does he love me? Is he going to call me back? It's all love and relationship. And I get that a lot. Is my soulmate out there? Am I ever going to marry and have a family? And people don't understand that that's a very general question. That's not a specific question. When I say I need specific questions, that's not specific. Because to them it is specific and it's not. So general readings like that, I will turn it around. Like you said, I will say, is the person that is my best match coming into my life within, and I'll give a time frame, because ever is just way too long. We can't read on forever. You still have free will. There's a destiny and fate, yes, but there's also free will. So at any time, if you don't like how your destiny and fate are going, you can change your mind and change what happens by doing so. We have that at all times. It's our gift from creation. It's something that came with choosing to come in here to the physical. And so forever is too long of a time frame. So like you, I will put it within, by the end of this year, within the next few months or whatever. I'll put it less than a year time frame on it.
Yeah. So a question isn't too broad, or yeah.
You have to narrow it down somehow. And then also, like, I was interesting, talk to different readers. Camellia Elias will throw down cards all the time on, will this happen?
Mm-hmm.
The yes or no questions, she'll do them. Again, the way that I learned was to not do that yes or no question, but to instead put it to like, what is the energy and outcome of this happening, this outcome? And to ask the positive outcome, because if you ask the negative and you get a negative, Donna Lee stresses this in her videos all the time. Is he cheating on me? And you get a negative card, is that a yes or is that a no? But if you say, is he being faithful to me? And you get a no card, then you know that no, he's not. But if and you get the yes, you know that yes, he is. That if you get a negative response to a negative question, it still leaves a question as to which way to interpret that.
Yeah, and to add to that, like, it's important as a reader to have your parameters, especially with things like that. Let's say yes, no questions. You could say, okay, positive cards are yes and negative are no, or upright are yes and reversed are no, or odds are yes and evens are no. Like, you can set your parameter, and it could be per reading. I've done that with some of my quickie clients. So I've asked a yes, no question. Not often, but like there's been a couple times where I'm like, okay, because of the trickiness of the question, I just put it before I shuffled. Odd will be no and even will be yes, or maybe it was the other way around. Just because it was a tricky question that would be hard to interpret by the image. And so I needed to set parameters. So as a reader, even if you're reading for yourself, which gets tricky in its own way, because you're in your way, you can, set your parameters, your rules, whatever you want to call them, before you do the reading, before you shuffle, before you start.
That's something important, I think, for people to understand, is that although you're connecting with your guides, and so it's your intuition, it's your guides talking to you, this is the tool through which you're doing it, but it's a tool. I compare this to, my husband is in the construction business. This is, to me, the same as his hammers are to him. It's an essential tool that I use to make that connection and get those messages. So because it's a tool, one thing I can do he can't do with his hammers, I can tell it how, I'm setting the guidelines with spirit, basically. You're setting the guidelines with your spirit guides. This is how you talk to me through this tool. Mm-hmm. And so you set those parameters, and you can individualize it, like you said, to certain, when you're throwing cards on a certain question, to say, okay, this is what I'm going to look for a yes, and this one will look for a no. But you're setting that. This is how you're using this tool with me, basically.
Yeah. So should we do a couple of readings, and then we each give our interpretation on something?
Yeah.
Okay. So should we open it up? Does anyone out there want to ask a question? Maybe we'll do a 3-card reading. We'll decide which deck before. What deck do you want to use?
Oh boy. I tend to go to my, to my Terra de Marseille.
Okay, we'll do one of your decks first. Okay, who has a question? Oh, Woodthrush Cottage. She says, okay, so instead of asking, I am going to sell my house. Oh, so that's for you, Diane.
Yeah, exactly. So instead of saying, am I going to sell my house, or are we going to sell our house this weekend? What is the energy and outcome is how I've personally phrased it. You can work with different phrasings, see what works for you. That is the one that I've learned that works for me, is to say, what is the energy and outcome? Because I'm looking for then the story. I read cards in a line. I don't use spreads. So I like the story of the energy of what's happening and then an outcome for it. Mm-hmm. So that's how I ask my questions.
Well, and stories open up the potential or the possibilities to express your free will and change the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so Monica asks, I want to ask about my healing journey. What should I do to find my path? Okay. Diane will pull 3 cards and we'll both interpret.
For that one, I'm going to go to the Light Seers. I'll tell you what, let me pull deck going by the type of question. It's a more spiritual deck for a more spiritual question. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And if you guys are like, I did a live, my first live, I think, was on reading for yourself and others. So if you want to check that out, go to my channel page. It's in the vlogs and discussions, but after when I edit this, I'll add it in. That could be helpful too. It was an interesting.
Okay. So, and Monica, I did a slight rewording of that, of what is your next best step to find your path. I also don't like wording should, because it's asking spirit to judge.
That's funny, because I don't mind should.
Yeah, I do. I don't put on myself.
To me, that's what should means. It's not like, but that's like a totally different interpretation. Like, I'm fine with should. What should I do? What is the best thing for me to do next?
That's why I'll put it to what is my best next step instead of what should I do? Because I don't should on myself. Should. That's one of my spiritual teachers ingrained that in me. Okay, so what we got here was the Queen of Swords, the 7 of Wands, and the Page of Cups. So it's interesting because we've got 2 court cards.
Mm-hmm.
So the Queen of Swords, if you look, she's very still and contemplative. And we have meditation here too in this Seven of Wands. So, and visualization. So I'm seeing starting with meditation and visualization to see what comes to you. What message does Spirit give you as being your next thing to do? Meditation, I would say, is absolutely the answer to where your next step is.
So I agree with that. Meditation is a key piece. I'm just pulling the cards out of my lights here so I can hold mine up too.
I'm sorry. I know I'm not doing well with this camera thingy. There we go.
Okay. So I'll just give like a sentence out of these three cards. Like, so meditation, yeah, time with yourself. So Queen of Swords, tapping into what you already know, learning from your past experiences, meditating on that, because I feel you already have the path.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to tap within to see it, because the path, you know how she's in this bubble? It's almost like a crystal ball, but it's all within you. It's all from your experiences. And you can't look outside of you for it. And at the same time, to me, this is like play. Have fun with it. Don't take it so seriously that you forget to laugh at yourself.
Right, because we've got like the flying pig element in here. So,
But I want to say, your path.
Silly.
Your experiences have shown you your path, Monica. It's just not what it was in those past experiences. That makes sense. You have to translate that to now, but meditation is going to help you see that in the crystal ball that you are. So your own intuition, your own inner guidance. And I love her solar plexus is all lit up.
Mm-hmm. I'm here with the heart in the hand.
Yeah, the heart in the hands. Can I get that on the?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. And it's like a nuclear fusion or fission. Mm-hmm. There's a reaction already going on within your heart. It's showing you the path. And that's sort of that no answer too. But it's like you already, you know it. And I think, so Monica says, meditation is difficult since I have poor mental health and I end up hallucinating every time. Are you hallucinating or are you having spiritual vision? And are you able to journal those out so you can, when you're in a clearer headspace, see if that's able to discern, oh, that was just my mind doing weird stuff, and oh, that is my guidance. So you're going to have to sort that stuff out. And that's where I would say that's Queen of Swords too, figuring it out, right? Figuring it out.
Exploring, thinking about different ways then too that you can meditate. I have that high chatter monkey brain that does not like to sit still. And I found early on that the best thing I could do for that was twofold. Have the candle to focus on the flame, but I have music going in the background to capture the part of my mind that likes to get active and wander. And I find that helps too.
So meditation doesn't have to be just sit there and like try to not think of things. It can be focusing on something. It could be focusing on your breath, music, a chant in your head out loud, using mala beads, rosary beads, prayer beads, whatever beads you have, to say something over and over and over and over and over and over and over till you're in that zone. So you can use tools to help keep your your mind, in a sense, on track to meditate. And that sounds kind of like counterintuitive, but you can do that. And there's meditation practices, where you focus on like a picture, let's say, of the Buddha or a lotus or something like that. So you can do it with your eyes open too, if that helps.
Or guided meditations and stuff too. There's a lot of those available now, for free on YouTube and things. So play with different methods. Yeah. Whatever you've been doing may not be working with you, but maybe tweaking it with something else. And yeah, walking meditation, Mandarin, that's another good, there's different ways to meditate. It doesn't all have to be like sitting there and trying to make your mind blank.
Yeah, it's actually for everybody. The thoughts that come. It's not like sometimes there is, when you practice meditation, it can just be silent. It can just be you hear things and you're not thinking about it. But that's a rare experience. Often thoughts are coming in and come and go, and you're observing the thoughts. Let's say a thought comes in like, oh, shoot, I need to get bread at the grocery store. And you just say, oh, haha, I thought about grocery shopping. That's how you observe it, rather than, oh, I need to get bread at the grocery store. When am I going to go? And then you let your mind get stuck there. And then you say, oh, funny. Okay, I'll go to the grocery store later. And then you let that thought pass. And then another thought comes in like, my toe itches, and you're like, let me scratch it. Okay, that thought, and you're like, haha, that thought came in. You observe the thoughts. So you observe the visions. And this is where like writing it out, journal, you can stop while you're meditating and write out what you see and keep track of it and then go back. That might help you sort of train your mind to not get lost in the thoughts that come in. Mm-hmm. Okay, so someone else had a question. I want to.
Yep, that's what I was doing. Your turn.
How are you? So,
Woodthrush Cottage.
Yeah.
Says, I would like to know what is the energy around deepening my spiritual growth.
Okay, so I will pick a deck for that. Let's do Hush. What is the energy about deepening your spiritual growth? Okay. Okay. So I'm using the Hush Tarot. So we have the Seven of Cups. So I'll let you look at that. Seven of Cups.
Mm-hmm.
She's on a horse. Snake wrapped around her leg. So my first thought is you have lots of options for your path. The Knight of Cups. Where does your heart lead you? What are you passionate about on your spiritual path? What makes your heart go pitter patter? And I like how she's holding out a sword. It's like, that's what I'm going for. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles or coins.
Ooh.
Okay, so I'm sort of getting a shadow message here. Allow your life to flourish. And what I'm getting there's a shadow energy of like, if you're on a spiritual path, you don't deserve to have abundance and a growth, creative, filled life. So working on that shadow, because the spiritual path your heart desires is one that will also make your life flourish. But there's a shadow energy there of, if I'm spiritual, I don't know, I can't have nice things, or I can't live in this nice place, or whatever it might be. So follow your heart's desire. And I want to say your heart desires a few things. What is most important to you right now? Okay.
One thing I was really about, there we go, being tangled while clinging tightly. So there's like an idea or something that you've been clinging tightly to, despite the fact that there's all of this other stuff around you that is also available it just looks like it's not being used wisely or explored as well as it could be.
And I think
And
that's part of the shadow that's holding you back.
on this, but then that like charging through. So like deciding what of this you do want to use right now, what, like look through all of the different options and find the focus that you want to move forward with now. And that will help you to kind of move through the weeds and decide which direction, because now see how she's kind of really clear with just a couple of ribbons, and the weeds, the entanglement is all here now, kind of at her feet. Like, okay, now I've sorted out these couple of things in my hands. These are what I'm going to follow, and I'll let that stuff sit for later.
You kind of point out like the busyness. The first card is like, yeah, you know, and then I do make sound effects when I do client. And then it's like, okay, there's a clearing. I can move forward. I see it, charge, and like, oh, yay, I'm free. I'm on my path, and life is better.
Yeah, so it's so easy to get tangled up. There's so much out there, so it can be very easy to get distracted and feel like there's so much and I just don't know, and I'm just kind of holding on for dear life and trying to figure out where I want to go.
Yeah, and don't get caught up.
I feel like you have to learn it all. I say this a lot with tarot, with everything else. Don't feel like you have to learn it all at once either. It's all a journey, not a destination. So decide what you want to focus on now, and follow where that leads you. And you'll find that like feeling of freedom and that spiritual feeling. I mean, she's in white, which is a very, a lot of gurus and spiritual leaders wear that color and stuff. So, you'll find that which is your true loves, your true attachments.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, don't let yourself get caught up in like, oh, that's what this person does and that's what that person does. Yeah. And as I was thinking that, I was drawn to the snake down here, which I kind of see as sort of like a spiritual narcissistic guru. Don't get caught up in someone's idea of what you should be to be on your spiritual path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't let people should you.
Yeah. Don't let people should you, and Diane's definition of should.
Don't let people should on you. Okay.
Okay, so Heidi's here. Hi, Heidi, Wandering Wild Woman.
Okay.
Well, I mentioned something somewhere about coloring therapy. That's awesome. Journals. Oh, thanks, Heidi. Just like glancing at some of the chat.
Okay, so Mandarin Learner I see as, will I have an income of at least 50,000 between now and September?
That's a specific. Let's do one card. Yes. Very specific.
With harm to none.
Okay, so Diane pulls a card for that.
Okay.
Question, where was it?
So now see, I would be doing a 3-card for that.
Okay.
But now I'm definitely going into my Tarot de Marseille for that. So that question for me is a Tarot de Marseille. Okay.
If I'm typing answers, because I don't want to disrupt Diane's concentration.
No, that's fine. Okay. So interesting. What I got was the 7 of Cups, which shows me that you have a lot of options ahead of you. So there are, I'm going to say, not just doing one thing to get that income, but multiple streams of income or things that you are doing. Don't put all your eggs in one basket here. Put put that out into various streams of income. Focus on that manifestation. The Queen of Coins and how focused she is on that. I see that as definitely like focus on that goal and hold that picture. And then the Queen of Swords, you have the power to make that happen. So I would see this as a yes, and that you have that ability. All right, Julianne.
So Mandarin Learner asks, is that an 8 of Cups? Yes, but Tarot de Marseille doesn't.
Oops, sorry, that's 8.
Yeah, but it still reads different than RWS.
Yes. So with that 8 of Cups, I still see again that need for multiple, 8 is also, it's that infinity. So it's kind of keep doing it, but put it out there into more places.
I still see it as combining different streams of income or different skills and abilities together into that gold coin that the Queen is holding, right? Like, this is what I want, and I want to bring this in, I want to bring that in. Oh, maybe I need to take a class on that. I need a little experience here. I need to pull these things together. What can I do, and how can I bring it together? And then there's that Queen of Swords, so that double Queen energy. Like, so Queens are a lot about inner mastery, even though it's like money question is an external masculine energy. But it's like you got to pull your skills together, your experience together, maybe learn some new things, some new skills. And it's almost an energy of creating your career yourself, or maybe you have your own business or a side business, but it's like building upon that, envisioning what you want. Yeah, it's like you make it manifest. So I don't think it's like working retail here and the gas station there, like that kind of multiple things. Although there might be, you work for someone while you're making money and you're pooling everything together to create the income you want. Yeah. That's mine. Okay. So with Rush College, there you are. You're welcome. I'm like lost where I was in the chat. Okay. Yeah, get a deck, Monica, and practice. You can probably find some pretty affordable, like an RWS deck should be pretty affordable. Rider-Waite Smith, like this, should be pretty affordable. Yeah, if you don't understand the difference, I mean, you can learn about it too, but like then you have to trust your reader. You have to trust the different systems. But yeah, the 2 queens. Yeah, it's like you create it. Queen's creative energy. You're welcome. Okay, did someone, oh, Heidi had a question. Will you be able to travel in the freedom that you want? Do you have a time frame on that, Heidi, or just ever? Uh-oh, I think you froze, Diane.
Did I?
Or you were just sitting still?
No, I was sitting still. I'm sorry.
I was like, hey, we're frozen. Okay, what deck for Heidi? We'll use Light Seers. I'm just waiting to see, is there like within a few years or ever? And why had a question? Oh, why had a question first? Let me do Why's question while we wait for Heidi. So why? Heidi says ever. Okay, let me start Heidi's and then we'll do Why's. Okay, sorry, out of order. Or I know like sometimes the chat comes up in different order for different people. Okay. Will the
I see Why's then Heidi's, so yeah.
Or maybe in the next 5 years. Okay, let's do the next 5 years. Will the wandering wild woman be able to have the freedom to travel like she wants in the next 5 years? That is a well-phrased question. Yes, after a short delay of maybe a couple of years. So the first card we get is the Two of Swords. This is the delay. This is the wait. You can't see it for a while. Life may have you feeling all tangled up, lots to do, where you are. To me, the Two of Swords is always, doesn't matter the deck almost. Most decks, she's like the younger version of the High Priestess. You can't see it, but you will take that blindfold off and know where to go or when you can go and the freedom that comes. So then the next two cards, I'm going to hold them together because I can fit them in. The Queen of Cups. Wait, I'm covering it up. The Queen of Cups and the Empress. So to me, this is wandering wild woman energy, feminine freedom. You will flow free. Now, Queen of Cups to me is also very mother energy. And I know, well, I don't know, I won't say much, but you're with your mom. And so she is a focus right now. But you will break free. You will be able to birth. You know, she's got the world.
What I was just thinking, you will be able to give birth to your dreams.
You will be able to give birth to your dreams. I think there's a 2, maybe 3-year delay. So in the next 5 years, yes. Not just yet. You may not be able to see it because of life and all that's going on, you know, in your personal life, COVID-19, everything else. And I want to say you'll have your mom's blessing. I don't want to get too personal there, but I just want to say that. Okay, Diane.
Okay, so no, I actually really agree with that. Like right now, I would see that Two of Swords the same way. Like right now, you really can't see how and when that's going to happen. You can't see the way forward, but you know, the desire and the message is certainly there. And then with that Queen of Cups, you know, just first you've got things that you have to do first to achieve that, you know, and there's that nurturing first, self-nurturing as well as nurturing with your mother first. And then with the Empress, yes, I was seeing that very much, being able to give birth to your dreams. So
and it's
I
like
totally agree with that within the next 5 years, yes.
So that answers the other question as well. Okay.
So Wise question was, how should I move forward with the Aries man? And I'm going to go with the Thoth deck because we haven't used it yet.
See if we missed anything else. I think we got it all.
Okay. And so our first cup, we have the Nine of Wands. So perseverance. Don't give up. But also, next, the Queen of Swords.
She's popular.
So, trying something new. Keep persevering. Okay, don't give up hope. But try something different than what you've done before. Like, get rid of whatever your old ideas were around the relationship and how things need to proceed. It's time for new thoughts and moving forward. Following that passion, leaping forward. Getting creative because we're in Wands, but we're also about that passion. So if you've been holding back thinking that perhaps they need to make the first move. Maybe you do. Julianne?
So I have a very different interpretation.
That's the whole point of this, right?
So, yeah. So I'm just going to say it like in a whole, can you hold all three up? Because to me, it's like a sentence. So 9 of Wands, there'll be lots of headaches. You might feel like you're waiting a lot. You'll question if you should hang in there. The Queen of Swords, she holds a head. You're going to break away. And the Knight of Wands, you're going to move on to something better. So, so I would say, no, not a good one.
All right. So you're saying cut and run, basically.
Cut and run. It's not worth the hassle. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, you could, this is what you could hang in there. You could persevere. You could hold strength. You'd be cutting your own head off and then you'd run anyway. Like there's nothing in there to tell me that there's a relationship there. But that's my interpretation. So take what you will from those. Why? Okay, how are we on time?
Where are we at?
It's almost an hour. Okay. We can do one more because one more question. Dollar Princess says, are there any messages my guides want me to know in regards to my current love life? Should we use a challenging deck? Should we use the Medieval Sigils deck for that?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So if you don't know my deck, the Medieval Sigils Tarot, it's all sigils. So Dollar Princess, take note of the symbols, even screenshot them and meditate on them, but we'll give our interpretations and see what happens. So are there any messages your guides want you to know in regards to...
Oh, you froze. Okay, there you go.
Okay. They're sliding all over. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so we start with the 10 of water or the 10 of cups. So I'm getting that I'm really noticing the Mars symbol shooting off. Like you need to get out of a fantasy in your love life. So I don't know if that's you're fantasizing in a relationship you're in, or you have this fantasy perfect relationship you want in your love life, or maybe it's not even a relationship, your love life. But that's almost holding you back. I want to say it's like drowning you. Your love life can't like take off. Then we have the 3 of water. There's, I want to say in your circle of friends, there is someone there standing in the middle. Now it's the second card. It may not be in a group of friends you're involved with now, because you have to get out of sort of like the fantasy of what you want your love life to be. Or it's a group of friends that you'll be coming into soon. I mean, if you're in isolation, there might not be much of a group of friends right now. So it could be when we're out of that. But I kind of see this as there'll be someone standing there in the middle of your group of friends. And then we have the 5 of fire. And this is much more, I want to say stable, but also exciting energy. So in your love life, it will turn out to be not what you think it will be or expect it to be or ever imagined it to be. So you have to kind of get out of those parameters you've built up in your mind about what your love life should be, whether you're in a relationship now or not or whatever. That's actually blocking that sort of ideal love life that you want, but you want to get out of those ideals. Okay, I'll hold these up for you, Diane.
Right. Oh, yes, because I'm so familiar with this deck yet. No. um, but it is interesting because I see that, as you said, that Mars arrow going off from that Pisces watery energy. And so there's like this new, to me, I see it like a new passionate beginning happening within the love life, within the, if there is a relationship existing already, within that existing relationship, if not within the love life in general. So I would say definitely something new coming in. And maybe, and in the Three of Water here, what I'm seeing, maybe somebody you already know who's just waiting for you to notice them.
Okay.
And if not, then somebody you are going to like meet who's going to stand out from the crowd. One or the other on that. But either or, somebody in particular standing out. And the Five of Fire, I'm seeing that could be a very interesting, like a very interesting interaction, because we are in the Five of Fire, which is often about conflict. And so it may have a very, say, fiery start. Not a traditional kind of start, if this is a new relationship coming in. And if not, it could just be one where there's a period of there being some conflict coming up. But then I would say know that this too shall pass.
Okay.
Because it's still holding that energy within it.
Yeah. So I'll just hold all three of these up if you want to. Is that the right order on screen? Okay. You want to take a screenshot to see those images together. Okay. If you missed it, watch back and do it. Okay. All right. So it's been over an hour, so I have to get to work. It's morning for me. Anything you want to close out with, Diane?
No, just to say it is interesting when you're, just journal those things when you are asking questions and looking at the cards. Put in your interpretation and then leave space on your page to come back later and take a look and see what actually ended up playing out. Like my daily draws, I now leave space at the bottom to make a couple of real quick notes, later at night or the next day as to what happened in regards to what I saw as the message of the cards. So leave that space for that. And know that, it's okay if you looked at the cards one way and something else happened. That's how we learn.
Yeah, that's how you learn. And sometimes it's just the realization, like, oh, I was so set on that card or those cards meaning this that I didn't see the other messages that were coming through. So it does help, to go back in hindsight. So yeah, you practice, you journal it out, you reflect upon it, or you leave a spread out for a week and see how it plays out. And you're like, oh, at the beginning of the week, I thought it was going to be completely different. And wow, it turned out much better or much worse, or, oh, I didn't see that coming when I first laid the cards out. So yeah, practice it, play with it. Check out the video I did on reading for yourself and others. I forget everything I said there. A while ago.
For that too, about reading for yourself. There's some really good workbooks to help you with how to do that. But like you said about leaving it out for a week, that's what I do with my shadow spreads. And I see throughout the week, when I look at them, does something else come in, and I journal that. I add that on, to the journal entries for it. So take your time especially when you're learning, to see how things turn out, and then to get extra messages from the cards. Let them continue to speak.
And be open to the cards having layers of messages, not just one, unless you pose the question in such a way that it has to be yes, no, or very tight answer. So be open to the messages you don't want to hear. That's really important.
That's huge.
Often it's more our resistance to that answer or message that is much worse than us taking it and using that guidance to help us in our lives. I think it's the fear of like a possible message just it's worse than actuality often. Yeah.
I see that a lot, where I see people afraid to give the negative message, afraid to say, no, that's not going to happen. The cards are saying, no, this isn't the right time. People will tend to want to put the positive spin and ignore the negative side of the cards, to only give the light message and ignore the shadow. I read both. When I'm reading for myself, I do tend to look at guidebooks usually, and I tend to look at both the light and the shadow message and see, and put like a cohesive message out of the two.
Yeah, and you have to like I go a lot with what I feel when I see the cards. And so sometimes it's hard to sort that out. Do I feel this way because it's not what I want to hear? Or do I feel this way because, it's not going to work out? Or, okay, I'm going to have to like fix that. Or, so it's like sorting out your own feelings, emotion, or your clairs, basically. Like, because to me, it's like, clairsentience. Like, what do I feel here? So it's practice. Practice. Okay.
Journal, practice, journal.
Night of Avalon. Sorry, we are just wrapping up. But thank you everyone for being here. There's someone popped in. I don't know where it was who asked a question, but we're just wrapping up. So I hope you found this interesting. We just thought it'd be fun to pop on and just show different interpretations, because not everyone's going to read exactly the same. That would be boring. It would all have to be very textbook by one specific textbook, for all readings to be the same by every single person. And that's why, some readers resonate for others and others don't. And, it gives us variety.
Very true.
Thank you, Y, for moderating for us.
Yes. Thank you very much, Y. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Yeah.
Appreciate it,
everyone. And so if you missed it, go back, watch it later. I think it will be a little bit before YouTube will post it. There seems to be a delay every time. So anyway,
I don't know.
Thank you, everyone. I'll be clicking out now. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.